Hello, second graders, and welcome to EL Lesson 29. Hope you are doing well. We're going to start with another mystery journal entry. Here it is. My arms are getting tired from digging in the sand, and I am sunburned, but it is worth it because today we found something. It happened early this morning. It happened early this morning. I was trying to dig carefully. I didn't want to hit any fossils with my shovel and break them. I knew that erosion may have brought any bones very close to the surface. I had to be careful. Second paragraph. My shovel tip hit something hard. It felt like a stone. Wow, this might be it, I thought. I quickly put my shovel down and took out a large brush. Everyone gathered around me and we began to brush away dirt and sand to uncover the mystery rock. I thought, what is it? Is it the fossil we were hoping to find? It was a fossil. The fossil of a leg bone, to be specific. We spent all day carefully brushing the dirt away until we could see the whole thing. We knew we'd found something spectacular because this bone was gigantic. I had never seen a bone this large before. Wow, a lot of tools were used. A shovel, a brush, and some of the words were underlined, like erosion and surface. So I think we're going to learn more about those words that are underlined. Very cool. All right, let's continue on. So here's another picture. So this asks us a question. How did the bones come to the surface? What words do you think of when you hear stone and rock? Okay, so two questions we're going to talk about in small groups. How did the bones come to the surface, and what words do you think of when you hear stone and rock? So how did the bones come to the surface? Well, we can always go back and look. You can always pause. I'm going to go back to the first paragraph. I didn't want to hit any fossils with my shovel and break them. I knew that erosion may have brought any bones very close to the surface. The surface is the top. I had to be careful. Okay, so here's the text. You may pause this at any time. All right, we will be discussing that in small groups. How did the bones come to the surface? And what words do you think of when you hear stone and rock? Okay, this is something that we can talk about. It's a question. I wonder what I can learn by studying this fossil closely. Now, by looking at it, would you say that that's a plant fossil or an animal fossil? And then here it says, what do you think the author will learn? We're going to read a book right now. It is called Fossils Tell of Long Ago. And as we read this, I want you to ask yourself, what can we learn by studying fossils? And what do you think, what do you think the author will learn? Okay, well, let's find out. Here we go. Make it nice and big for you. And it starts like this. Look at that big fish. Once upon a time. Oh, let me go back. It's going too fast. Once upon a time, a huge fish was swimming around when along came a smaller fish. The big fish was so hungry it swallowed the other fish whole. The big fish died and sank to the bottom of the sea. So a big fish ate a smaller fish and it died and sank to the bottom of the sea. Look at its bones. This happened 90 million years ago. How do we know? We know because the fish turned to stone. The fish became a fossil. A plant or animal that has turned to stone is called a fossil. Scientists can tell how old stones are. They could tell how old the fish fossil was. Look at that. The fish became a fossil. How did the fish become a fossil? Most animals and plants do not become fossils when they die. Some rot. And the kid says, P.U. That fish there did not become a fossil. It's just decomposing. Others dry up, crumble, and blow away. No trace of them is left. This could have happened to the big fish. We would never know it had lived. Instead, the fish became a fossil. This is how it happened. Okay, you see the squirrels and the birds. Okay, this is how this fish became a fossil. This is very important. When the big fish died, it sank into the mud at the bottom of the sea. Slowly, the soft parts of the fish rotted away. Only its hard bones were left. The bones of the fish it had eaten were left too. The skeleton of the fish lay buried and protected deep in the mud. Thousands of years went by. More layers of mud covered the fish. Tons and tons of mud piled up. After a long time, the surface of the earth changed. The sea where the fish was buried dried out. Look at all the layers here. Wow. The weight of the layers of mud pressed down. Slowly, the mud turned to rock. As that happened, groundwater seeped through the changing layers of mud. Minerals were discovered in the water. The water seeped into all the tiny holes of the fish bones. The minerals in the water were left behind in the fish bones. After a very long time, the bones turned to stone. The fish was now a fossil. And you can see it right there. Wow, very cool. Some fossils, like fish, are actual parts of plants or animals that have turned to stone. Sometimes a fossil is only an imprint of a plant or animal, like a stamp. Millions of years ago, a leaf fell off a fern-like plant. It dropped onto the swampy forest soil, which is called peat. The leaf rotted away, but it left the mark of its shape in the peat. The peat with the imprint of the leaf hardened. It became a rock called coal. Coal is a fossil too. Here you can see the kids examining and observing, making their observations, and they're doing something called collaborating. Collaborating is really important. So we're going to stop the story right there and we'll read the rest of it next time. So before we end today, let me find where I was. Before we end today, I want to talk about what collaboration is and how we can collaborate with our own classmates. Okay, so let me go back. And we're going to talk about collaboration in small groups. Okay, so let's learn about what our target is today. Let's learn what our target is. Here we go. Okay. What do you think that book was mostly about? If you were to say, what would you say that book was mostly about? I would say it was about how that fish became a fossil. Not all animals and plants become fossils. So our learning target is, I can use discussion norms to participate in classroom discussions about working with fossils. Okay, so you're going to be discussing in small groups this week. And we're going to be looking at a saber-toothed tiger fossil. Okay, here is a picture of a saber-toothed tiger fossil. So we'll be working with this a little bit more this week, putting this together. Because that's what paleontologists do. Being a paleontologist is like putting a puzzle together. They might find the leg bone first, like we read about in our mystery journal. Wonderful. So, as I discussed earlier, collaboration means working well with others to get something done. Responsibility means to take ownership of your work, your actions, and your space. So we're going to talk this week. This is our question. How do paleontologists show collaboration and responsibility? Okay, so we're going to be talking about that this week. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you very soon.